Sup nerds, this is Garchu Collector Dan and welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to make a quick impromptu video answering a question I received on my most recent PSA return video. Now, I have been grading with PSA for about 3 years now, and I think I'm pretty well versed in what an average consumer would experience when it comes to submitting cards. And I thought it'd be helpful to answer this question on video and then maybe add a little more insight to my grading process with PSA at the end of the video. So yeah, if you enjoy this type of content, please leave a like and leave any additional questions you might have about PSA grading down below. I'd really be happy to answer more questions. Maybe if there's enough, I can make a follow-up video for this one. But anyway, let's get right into the question. So one of my viewers, Ryan Kim 553 asks, I am planning on submitting 60 cards to PSA soon. One of my concerns is that if I send all 60 cards at once, the grader might rush through them or be stricter due to volume, especially if they find the upcharge process inconvenient. Now, this is a lengthy question, but I just want to take it one sentence at a time, or I guess one section at a time, I should say. Now, when it comes to the strictness of grading, I really think it's just random. I think it just depends on the mood your grader's in, whether he got laid the night before is the common joke in the hobby, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, or really just how many submissions he's done, like the order in the day that he receives a submission, maybe the time of year that he processes your submission. Maybe it's a Friday afternoon, he's just trying to breeze through quickly, feeling good that the weekend's coming up, get more likely to give out a 10 versus Monday morning. Maybe he's given a couple more 9s than he would have if he had the same submission then instead of the Friday prior. But anyway, I really think you can't worry too much about strictness of grading. And when it comes to the upcharge process, I don't think PSA really cares about the upcharge process. I don't think they specifically give cards 9s to avoid upcharging when it comes to bulk submissions. In fact, I've done about, I think, 6 PSA submissions. Maybe I'm on my 7th is currently with them. And every time I've sent via bulk and never gotten a single upcharge, I've graded cards that were worth $500+ at the time of grading, such as the Rayquaza VMAX from Evolving Skies, Blaziken VMAX from Evolving Skies. I've graded multiple Evolution Alt-Arts like the Umbreon V, the Sylveon VMAX, the Glaceon VMAX, etc. You get the gist. But anyway, my point is that I've graded cards, Lugia V, sorry, that one just popped in my head there. But anyway, I've graded cards that are more than double what the bulk value maximum is, and I've yet to get hit with any upcharges. I do think PSA is cracking down. I know recently they switched from insured value and declared value and insured value were 2 different numbers up until maybe about a month ago, and then I saw an email from PSA saying they're now the same. So I do think they're starting to crack down on upcharges. I am interested to see whether my most recent submission at PSA does get upcharged. It does have a couple big cards in there, Lugia V, Charizard V, etc. But anyway, I will keep you guys posted on that. I will say though, when it comes to worrying about strictness of grading, I think it's important to focus on the order you put your cards in. I do think that the graders have some sort of quota. I don't think they're able to give out 100% 10s in a 25-card submission. Even if all the cards are worthy, I think they need to give at least a couple 9s here or there just to kind of give the illusion to maybe their management that they're doing their due diligence. They're actually looking at these cards. They're actually determining whether they're worthy of these grades rather than just randomly assigning them a grade just to get them through the system and just get their job done fast. So that being said, I think it's important in your submission to kind of layer in cards in a certain way to maybe bait out the 9s, if you will. So let's say you have like a Lugia V, for example, that you really want to hit a 10, but then you have maybe 5 other cards in your submission that you're not really sure if they're 10 worthy, and if they do it at 10, you don't really care that much. You're kind of just on the fence about sending them in the first place. I would put maybe 1 or 2 of those cards before the Lugia and then 1 or 2 after, just to bait out a 9 here or there so that the 9 quota is met, if you will, so then the Lugia can hopefully get a 10. Plus, if the grader probably has some sort of recency bias, if he's looking at a couple cards that maybe look like 9s, like clear 9s, and then he sees the Lugia that, hey, could be in borderline 10, borderline 9, maybe there's some damage, but it's not nearly as bad as, say, the card or 2 before it. He's more willing to overlook those flaws because it's better compared to the 2 cards, 3 cards in front of it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to that. Now back to the question. Ryan Kim 553 says, to avoid potentially landing with a strict grader. He's also considering splitting the submission into 2 batches of 30 cards. Have you experienced submitting a large bulk submission like this before, and if so, how are the grades? So kind of like I said, I would personally not split into 2 batches of 30 cards, because the way I look at it is it's actually more work for the graders to process 2 separate submissions. Like, they got to receive the box, they got to grab the paperwork, they got to enter it on their system. You know what I mean? Like, they got to stand up, sit down, grade the 30 cards, and then stand up, grab the box, open it, sit down, grade the 30 more cards. You know what I mean? Instead of with the 60 card, it's all one go. So it's actually easier, in my opinion, for them to grade 1 submission of 60 cards than it is to grade 2 submissions of 30 cards. And like I had said, I have had no problem grading 75 cards with PSA, 67 cards, like the last video I had uploaded has in it. So I am experienced in grading larger amounts of cards, and I've had no issues at all with the bulk tier. So that would be my recommendation there. All right, question 2. About half of these 60 cards would be worth over $200 each if graded as PSA 10, whether half are worth less than $200. I'm debating whether to send them all together under the bulk grading tier regardless of the value, or to separate them by value and send them under different grading tiers. Considering that I want these to be sequential, should I just send them out the lowest bulk tier and have PSA upcharge me later on? So I kind of disregarded what I said about breaking the question apart. I apologize for that. I got a little lost in the reading there. But anyway, I think that when it comes to this, if you want them sequential, obviously you need to just send them in order in the same submission. So when it comes to sequentially, I would just send them in the bulk submission, to be honest, and just worry about upcharges later. I don't think PSA grades differently based on the tiers. I think they grade differently based on the card. So I guess I'll give an example. My buddy Miles, as you know, friend, common name on the channel, he has sent off a Pikachu EX SAR from Surging Sparks to PSA. It's currently in grading as we speak. He went through the $75 tier, and obviously the bulk is $15. But that turnaround time is why you pay that much, because he's expecting to get that back by the end of next week, and we just sent it off last week. So like a 2-week total turnaround time is kind of what he was looking at there. But anyway, I don't think they spend any more time grading at the $75 tier than they do at the $14 bulk tier. It's all just about like skipping the line, basically, in my opinion. When it comes to higher end vintage, like maybe like a Moonbryon sent in through like the, I don't even know the name of the tier, like the Super Express, like $150 tier, whatever, maybe they spend a little extra time on it. But at the end of the day, these graders are spending no more than 10 to 15 seconds on each card, maybe 30 max. Like a quick centering, they might use a centering tool as kind of the theory I've been cooking up. Maybe they use a centering tool, quick look at the surface, quick look at the back, centering tool, done. You will spend more time pre-grading your cards than the graders at PSA actually do grading them. That's just a fact. So when it comes to this question, I think you should just send everything at bulk in one large submission and worry about upcharges later. Like I said, I've done 6 or 7 submissions now and have had 0 upcharges. I do think that might be changing, but I still think it's worth it just to send it the bulk tier and hope you avoid the upcharges, because you might. And then you'll save yourself a bunch of money, and it'll just be much easier for you to send off your one large submission in one package. And then in turn, I think it's easier for PSA to process that if that's what you're concerned about. I really think it's kind of a win-win for both sides just to send it as one lumps package, one bulk order. And then the last question is, lastly, when submitting for grading, do you put all the estimated values 200 to qualify for the bulk tier? So yes, I do. So basically, when I put in value, I put in the value that I think the card will be worth when it gets a 10. Obviously, if you're sending for bulk, that max is $200. So I'll just always do 200 for pretty much every card that's going to be worth more than that. And then I tend to overestimate some of the lower end cards I send. Like maybe there'll be a lower end card that I think is only worth $100. I'll put in 150, whatever. I mean, just to, in the worst case happens that the package gets lost, at least I have on paper that I think my cards are worth X. It'll probably sell for lower, but at the end of the day, I do think it is better to just send with bulk, hope your cards don't get lost, and maybe be generous when you're putting in the values of declared values. Just be very generous. That's all I can say. But anyway, I think that's it. That's the question there. So thank you again, Ryan Kim 553, for asking that question. It spurred this fun video topic. I do want to do more of these face-to-face videos. I mentioned in my last more personal face-to-face video that I am moving pretty soon, so ideally I'm going to have at my new place a nice setup behind me instead of just this bare wall and couch. Maybe with some cool cards featured in the background and whatnot. And yeah, who knows, maybe one day, ideally I'd like to get some sort of podcast or live stream going, whether it be semi-weekly, monthly, whatever, and just interact with viewers. Like, I really enjoy reading all the comments on my videos, and I hope I can make more videos. I hope people ask really good questions like this and that it inspires me to make more videos in response to them. I think ideally we'd get to the point where maybe I can do like a monthly live stream where I'm just hanging out, just talking Pokemon, answering any questions the chat has, and then ideally like speaking with viewers, like getting maybe on Discord, or I don't even know what, I'm not very well versed in the computer communication space, if you will. But yeah, maybe some sort of way for me to connect live with the viewers would be great. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video before I keep rambling. But yeah, that was just my quick little thoughts on this question here, and a little insight into my philosophy when it comes to grading with PSA. If you like this video and you made it this far in, please leave a hot dog emoji in the chat. I really appreciate people who watch it all the way through. And leave a like and subscribe and comment if you enjoyed. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.